7 years is a long time to spend in prison, but I made it. A couple other issues. I should have been out 18 months ago. The DNA issue come up. Now, Congress back in 2000 wrote a law, which is the DNA Analysis Backlog Elimination Act of 2000. And in 2004, every convicted felon, and now I believe it's every conviction period, or even if you are picked up by any police station in any part of the country, local, state, or federal, you have to give them a DNA sample. Okay, I did that. I gave them a DNA sample in January of 2009. However, I did a little research on that law, and the law says that they can, by force, take a sample of your DNA, which they prefer to do it in blood. Okay, that's fine. So they took my blood, but I wouldn't give them the fingerprints. The FBI has this little packet. It's a DNA collection kit. Nowhere in the law does it say fingerprints are required. Not in the statutes, not in the regulations, not in the BOP policy. Nowhere does it mention fingerprints. But it does say on the DNA collection kit from the FBI, fingerprints are required by the FBI. Well, I refused to give them fingerprints. We went round and round about it for about a half a day. I went and talked to case managers, consulars, lieutenants, captains. They kept calling me, and they were shuffling me back and forth between the medical facility and their offices. And I finally told them, I said, I'm not refusing to give you guys fingerprints. I want you to know that. But what I am doing is doing this conditionally. I will give you the fingerprints under condition that you show me my obligation in law or otherwise, other than the FBI's requirement, which the FBI doesn't write the law, and I'll do it. Well, needless to say, nobody could come up with the law. So this was, like I said, January 2009. I was due to go get released to halfway house on June the 2nd. 10 days before that date came, they asked me again if I was going to give my fingerprints. And I said, well, look, my position hadn't changed. As soon as you show me in law my requirements, I'll do it. I said, I'm a law-abiding guy. I assume you guys are. But they kind of laughed, But anyways, so they said, well, since you're not going to do that, we're going to cancel your halfway house. I said, okay. Really didn't want to go there anyway. Then they started writing me shots. A shot is something that you violate or do some infraction. You disobey one of their rules. Well, they said that I was impeding the duty of an officer of the BOP by not submitting to this fingerprints. And I got 18 shots over a period of about a year. Each one of these shots that they gave me, you went before what's called you had a UDC hearing, Unit Disciplinary Committee. And the first time I went to that, they took 2 weeks of phone privileges away from me. That was in January. That was the very first one. Then all of the successive shots that I got, the UDC said, well, we can't do anything more harsh than that, so we're going to shove this on up to what's called a DHO hearing. And this is a disciplinary hearing officer done out of Dallas by video teleconferencing. They escort you into this little room, and then they've got a video set up, and you're actually looking at this officer who's sitting in Dallas. And they're going to be the judge now on giving you some kind of penalty for the infraction that you've done. So this gal's name, who was my judge, or the hearing officer's name was Rosillas. And she was kind of a funny lady, but she dealt out some harsh stuff, not only to me, but to everybody else that was in front of her, that I've learned from time to time. Anyways, the successive shots that I got, she would take good time away from me that I had earned, 30 days, 60 days. And of course, I was immediately put in disciplinary segregation, which is the hole. Not quite solitary confinement, but close to it. Yeah, thank you. So I'm in the hole. I went to the hole on June 29th of last year. And it's kind of funny, the shots that I would get in the hole, one of BOP's medical personnel, guys by the name of Jenkins, G. Jenkins, who was the contagious disease coordinator. He's the guy that gave you the little TB shots, you know, and checked you for having TB. Other than that, I haven't seen him do really a whole lot. And he would come down to my little 6x9 room that I shared with another guy. And he would walk up, and there's this little window. It's maybe about that big, about 8x8. And he'd knock on the window. He'd say, "Mr. Simkanin, are you ready to give your fingerprints?" I said, "Well, Mr. Jenkins, as soon as you show me the law that requires me to do so, you can be the hero. I'll give you my fingerprints." He said, "Okay." And he'd leave. I'd get another shot. So anyways, that's how that went. Life in the hole is not really too exciting. We have a book cart that comes around, and you know, we can read books and novels and whatever. We're pretty much locked down 24/7. We get to go outside 1 hour a day for 5 days, Monday through Friday. And we're allowed to take a shower 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We weren't allowed to go to the chow hall. Food was brought to us every day. And they would put it through a little, what we called a bean hole in the door. It had a little door they opened up and shove your trays of food through it. You know, I will admit that the food wasn't really all that bad. What I ate today was a much more rich food than what I've had for a long time. But I made it through in good shape. The good Lord protected me, provided for my needs, gave me peace. I made it. So here I am. So if anybody's got any questions, I'll try to answer them, you know, to do the best I can.
Made it unbroken and unbowed.
Come to the microphone if you would. Dick, would you do, if you think back before your imprisonment, is there anything that you would do differently? You had suggested to me at one point that you'd probably not go the corporation route. You want to speak on that?
Well, of course, knowing what I know, you know, today, I mean, hindsight, you know, you can't really say for sure exactly what you would have done different, because, you know, back then, you don't have the knowledge that you've got now. But if I had the knowledge I had today, back then, yeah, I would have done things differently.